My name is Nick Laidlaw. I'm a holistic exercise and lifestyle coach from Sydney's Northern Beaches. I've created a video platform because I'd love to reach as many people as possible with these simple messages of health. I've also interviewed a host of individuals from our community. In their lives and in their own way, they've all helped to shape me be a better person. So I hope that they inspire you in some way too. Hello, we are in the studio of Lapointe, who's an artist, and I'm just going to chat to her today about being creative, about following your dreams, and about what she does to kind of tap into her creativity and find her, her true self and really be the best version of herself. She's a really inspiring woman. She's a mother of two, super mom. She's really gone from that stage of being a budding artist to now doing it full time, which I find really inspiring, and she's kicking ass doing it. So I hope you like it. All right, Lisa. So we're here in your beautiful studio in Avalon as you're getting ready for your next show. Thanks for coming and having a chat with me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's a really nice space. So I've kind of already introduced you as an artist and as a kick-ass mum and, just a really nice woman of our community. But when people ask you what you do, how do you usually answer that?
I say that I'm a large format pencil artist. I suppose I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I do large format pencil drawings and I find them really hard to explain actually.
Yeah. It's good that we can see them.
I just say that I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Ages ago, I wanted to be an artist. I never called myself an artist. And a friend said to me, if you want to be an artist, then you better start calling yourself one. So I thought that was interesting. And it was from that day I did call myself an artist. I became an artist. It was really nice.
Yeah. What was the transition like when you decided to kind of commit to that and really own that title?
I was doing lots of different things at the time. And I was trying to, do sculpture, do jewellery. I was working part-time in sales for other people. I was drawing, I was doing all this stuff, and I wasn't getting anywhere really doing any of it.
Yeah.
So I finally just thought, you know what, I need to pick one thing. And I thought about what's the one thing? And it was the pencil, the drawing. Yeah. And since I chose the one thing, I started doing really well at it. It was really good. I just sort of left everything behind and did that, and I started gaining momentum, and it all kind of went from there. But it's taking a bit of a leap. It was taking a bit of a leap.
Yeah. Was there moments in that time where, before you did commit to make that decision, were you scared, or were there moments where you kind of had a bit of self-doubt, or what was your internal dialogue in that transition phase like?
I think I was frustrated with my part-time work because I found it really consuming and it always held me back from doing my art. So there was a frustration there. But then when I made the decision, it was obviously scary financially. That's always a big thing. Bills don't go away.
Yeah, definitely.
But once I did it, I don't know, it just felt right. And since I've done it, I feel like I've arrived as a person.
Yeah, really?
I am who I always was meant to be.
Yeah, like you've stepped into yourself.
Totally.
Yeah.
And there's a peace. There's an inner peace.
How does that affect your energy moving from day-to-day life? If we were to look at back when you were running a few jobs, making your jewellery, sculpture, pencil drawings, where it sounds like you might have been spread a bit thin. What's your energy and kind of centre of being like? How has that changed since you did that?
I'm way more focused and way more calm, and I think that I have more energy for my practice and for that. I think, before it was very scattered.
Yeah.
I think always a bit pinching a bit here, pinching a bit there. Yeah. So it's the focus, and I think from that you get more energy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like when you're doing something that's more congruent with your dreams or with the best version of yourself, you get more energy from the world as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're more coherent. I
to
think.
subtle signs and stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
And interestingly enough, people started supporting you more when you committed to doing your own thing.
Exactly, and when you believe in yourself and it's coming from the right place, it's legitimate.
For sure. Have you always found it easy to believe in yourself?
No. I'm constantly doubting myself.
Yeah. How do you, in those moments, how do you bring yourself back to the truth? You know, if you ever have self-doubt in the past or even now when you're kicking ass, like how do you still, we all have those moments, how do you kind of bring yourself out of those?
I think I rely on affirmations. I constantly, my inner dialogue can be very filled with affirmations.
Yeah.
So I wake up in the night, and recently, like getting together for this show and everything, I've been quite stressed. And instead of going down the stress dialogue, I go into affirmation dialogue. And I actually started that a lot when I was pregnant with Cash. So if I woke up or if I was ever at a time when my thoughts would tend to wander, I would bring them back and it would be affirmations.
Yeah.
And I find that was therapeutic and calming, and it was positive reinforcement.
Yeah. And it's not like you're just talking shit to yourself. You're not just like trying to puff yourself up. You're actually telling the truth to yourself as well. Do you find that?
Well, yeah, no, it's sort of more focused truth instead of like a rambling, oh no, it's okay, you're gonna be good. You know, it's more like strength, courage, power. You know, that type of thing that's just really single and focused and
focused. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So since you started doing, art as a full-time gig, how has your creative energy or your creative expression changed?
I don't know if it's changed as much as it's come into full force. I think is maybe the thing. I just find it's just so a part of every part of my entire being. I can't separate it out.
So like from things like hanging out with your partner and your kids and, you know, doing artist work, it's like you're all intertwined.
It's all intertwined,
you
yeah.
feel that
I'm so tangled up in it that it's hard even to make sense of what my what my drawings are and how the relationship to everything is so embedded that it's hard to, I can't, like people will say, oh, that's beautiful. I'm like, oh, I can't even tell what it is. I'm so close to it.
For sure. Yeah. And what about when you were younger? Were you always finding yourself tending towards creative things, like an expression?
Always.
Really?
Yeah. From as long as I can remember, I was always making and creating and drawing and building and gluing and I used to just sit on my floor in my room, and I remember I'd just sit there for hours and hours and hours, and I wouldn't want to go to the bathroom because I was like, it's a waste of time. I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing. So I've always been that way inclined. Yeah. And I remember my dad saying to me once, I'm the youngest of 6 kids, and he said to me, you know, out of all my kids, you're the only one that knows what you want to be, and you want to be an artist. And that I was pretty little when I was pretty young when he said that.
So you had that real support from your parents or from your dad?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
You know, they've been very supportive.
There's a lot of people, in our society who, well, I think, maybe from an older generation where survival's more a priority, where, working in the arts or working in creativity or even following your dreams is deemed to be a little bit more of a fantasy than it is in the reality. And a lot of people, I have had that in the past, and kind of steered towards safer options of university and getting degrees and getting, kind of solid, guaranteed income jobs and things like that. I have seen that. What would you kind of suggest to somebody who's kind of like budding in themselves to whatever it is that they want to do, that feels that they can be pushed down a little bit like that? How would you encourage them to follow their dreams or their heart? Well,
it's interesting that you say that, because I went to art school, I went to COFA, and then ended up working in fashion and homewares and interiors and stuff, because I had to pay bills, and it's a money. That's the financial kind of support that you need. So I kind of went off my path for ages, and I've only really got back on it in the last 3 or 4 years, full time, because that was something that you have to kind of tend to the money demand.
For sure.
Like I said, bills don't go away. But I don't know. I mean, I think back to before, when I was working in those other industries in the fashion and homewares and for other people, and although I worked for really creative people, I was never happy, and I was always searching, and I was always lost. And I think that it's so important to do what you want to do, and that's where real health comes from, like inner being, happiness and wellness. And then, I mean, to do what you want to do that's the ultimate thing, right?
Totally.
And I feel really lucky that I can do what I want to do. But yeah, I think that it's so important.
Yeah.
And I think it's a big risk to take in today's society. But I think if you can do it, money will follow.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have to have that faith. But I mean, it is frightening to take that step.
It was almost seems like it was essential for you to go through doing things that, although they were cool, it wasn't your true destiny. It wasn't your true dream, because it almost made you realise what you didn't want to an extent.
Yeah, totally. And you're always compromised by other people.
Yeah, for sure.
And I found that really hard. Like doing, when you work for people, you have to do things their way, and it didn't always sit with me.
Yeah,
and I found that really difficult. Yeah. And you just there's this, even if you like what you do, there's an element of passion missing. And like I said to you, it wasn't until I became a full-time artist that I really found I am who I was always meant to be. I've arrived. Yeah. I am now. I'm here.
That's beautiful.
So I think that's, for me, that's everything. That's such a, you can't compromise that. You can't fudge that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so, like, shifting gears a little bit to the work that you do, it seems, I don't really know a whole lot about art, but I know what I like, And so it seems that your work is very kind of inspired by nature. There's like a very big mystical element to it. It's really intimate as well. It seems like there's a lot of relationship stuff in your work, and a lot of kind of connection with earth and a connection with nature in that. Can you talk like a little bit about that?
Definitely.
Am I right there? Or?
Yeah, no, it's really nice to hear that you get it. I don't know. I don't necessarily try to paint anything. It's what comes to me, and that's the subject matter, or that's just kind of what my I don't know how you say it, what I'm on about, I suppose. Yeah. But I have a very kind of strong spiritual side to myself that I don't necessarily share with people. I don't put it on to anyone. I don't really talk about it. I don't verbalize it a lot. Yeah. And it's a sort of relationship I have with that. It's quite private, but then it comes out through my art. And so it's nice that it has a way to get out. Yeah, sure. But definitely I have very strong sort of spiritual, cosmos sort of themes and that type of thing going on in relationship and love. And I think everything in what I do, I'm trying to, and it translates in the colours a lot, but you're trying to cultivate joy and happiness, and there doesn't need to be a sense of suffering to be creative.
Yeah, because that's kind of like,
you don't have to flog yourself and be tortured to be great.
It's a bit of a misconception, because like so many great artists have been, just self, very demising as well. It's great to hear that it doesn't have to be like that, that it can be like a real freeing of yourself as well. Yeah.
And a celebration. Instead of a destruction.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's very, there's a big shift and people are aware of that now.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're celebrating that, which is nice.
Definitely. It's certainly, when it comes from a higher state of awareness, you can probably communicate to a really nice message out there as well, to help people in some way or another. Yeah,
I think so, and that's what I try to do, is to, like I said, to try and cultivate a little bit of joy and happiness in people, and it to be uplifting and illuminating.
Yeah, beautiful.
Instead of, kind of, it's complex in a joyful way, not complex in a tortured way or a dark way.
Yeah, totally. Like when you are in that flow, or when you are making, one of your badass drawings, what does that kind of feel like, if you could verbalize it? Because some people say, my wife's an artist, so she talks about it being like a really present state, or similar to that of meditation. Like, would you liken it to anything like that, or completely different?
I would say that I have sort of two different stages to what I do, and the one is the like when the drawing, the initial concept drawing, and I often will draw those after meditation.
Yeah, right.
So, and I kind of just trying to open myself up and see what comes out in a really kind of open, receiving way, and then I will draw it up. And then the next phase is when I do my translate them to large scale and draw the pencil drawing. Yeah. And that itself, and that technique itself is very much like meditation to me.
Right.
It's like an open eye meditation. Takes a lot of diligence and care and focus and patience and mindfulness, and definitely has a very full-on meditation quality to it, which I really like about that.
Yeah, you get to meditate all day.
I know, yeah.
It's epic.
I know, it's really good actually, and I'm very mindful of that.
Yeah.
I try to make the most of that.
Yeah, for
and when I find myself getting out of that focus, I often bring myself back.
Yeah. So now that you're a mother of two now, so you've got a little girl. How old's Kiki?
She's 8.
And then you've got a 1-year-old as well.
Yep.
How has your kind of views, since you had Kiki at least, changed since you've begun to bring a young woman into the world?
We battle.
She's a strong personality.
She's a strong personality. She reminds me a lot of myself when I was younger.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know, I mean, we have a lot of great chats. We have a lot of philosophical chats.
Yeah.
Which is just, and only in the last kind of year, I suppose, because she's been able to understand and digest it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose I'm trying to always guide her in a direction, because I see myself in her, and I remember what my struggles were and what I battled with, and so I try and guide her away from that.
Yeah.
But a big thing in our family is we talk about things, and we're always discussing things, and there are reasons as to why. We're always explaining why, we go into big chats about that.
That's cool.
So I think, that's kind of our way of parenting and dealing with things.
Yeah. And what are some strong qualities that you would like to impart towards Kiki as a young woman?
I think it's really important to have a strong inner core and a strong sense of who you are, and because then it gives you the right tools to cope with the outside world. How exactly you cultivate that, I don't know, but we're working on it.
For sure.
But I think you need to, it's all the basic principles of, being kind and being honest and compassionate and loving and kind to yourself, and willing to experience and understand when things go wrong and how to make them right, and I don't know, not beat yourself up too much either, but always be willing to understand why things are the way they are, and
have an open mind and
have a bit of an open mind and an open heart, and communication.
Yeah, cool.
Is big.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you feel? Do you feel that there's some good role models, some women role models out there these days?
Look, I think there definitely are, but I think your best role models come from within your family, and I think it's really important. That's the most important as a kid. That's your family is your world.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it's really important. That's where it all starts, and hopefully there are good role models within the family.
Yeah.
And we're lucky. Between my sisters and my parents and Mitchell's family, we've got some really great people in our family that Kiki can go to, or the kids can go to for various reasons, and we really promote that.
Yeah.
To seek help if you need, or to good role models within the family.
Sure. Yeah. And what about in our community? I think where we live is full of positive people as well. Do you feel good about being a mum, knowing that the whole community is kind of behind you and behind your family and your kids and stuff like that? Oh yeah,
totally. I mean, I love living here for that, and knowing that, people know who my kids are, they look out for them, they help them. There's some amazing creative people in our community.
Yeah, that's
I mean, like Maddie, obviously, and I love being inspired by people who are younger than me.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think the other thing within our community is it's really open, like there's you're not stuck in an age bracket. People are friends of all ages, and that includes the kids. Kids are friends with other people's parents, and they know each other, and they there's a really nice crossover in age, and people do have your back. It's a great place to be.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's cool. And just before you finish, like, say if somebody's watching this and they feel there's something maybe missing in their whole spectrum of health, or with their creativity, or they're very much in their heads, Would you have anything to suggest just a total punter that doesn't think they're creative to like get them out of their heads a little bit and get into their flow a little bit more?
I think meditation is the key to everything. It just absolutely calms the being. And I think once you're calm and once you're out of your head, then you can think clearly.
Yeah.
And you can, you just see things in a different way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's really important, and especially now we've got so much information coming at us left, right and centre.
Yeah.
That I think that it's so important to meditate.
Is it something that you do every day?
Yeah. I try to. Well, and I draw every day.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying that.
But look, you know what? I have times where I'm better. I take more time out than others.
Yeah.
I don't like to use excuses, but yeah, I can sometimes get a bit busy and not have the time, not find the time. But
it certainly helped you out.
Yeah, and I listen. Most times when I'm at work, I'm always listening to something.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm going through a bit of a Deepak Chopra.
Oh, cool.
I listen to his talks pretty much all day.
Yeah.
And so again, it's just that constant reminding, to reflect, just constantly refining your being and trying to just be a bit of a better version of yourself all the time. It's so important.
Yeah, that self-reflection.
And be inspired from inside, not from outside.
Yeah,
I think that's a big thing, and I find that hard. I think anyone who's creative and clever, you can get to a certain point of success, and it's hard to not be influenced by what the outside, you think the outside wants from you.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm constantly trying to remind myself, is you've got to create from within, not create from outside.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because I think then it becomes impure.
And that's how you keep it pure, just by reaffirming how you are within yourself and what feels right from you within.
Yeah, totally. And it all comes again from, meditation, and like I said to you, all my inner concept drawings come from meditation. That's how I get my material. So wherever it comes from, that's where it comes from. That's the channel.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it's obviously working for you.
Yeah, it is. I think so. I mean, you're always in there's always you're always peppered with a little bit of fear. And although it's kind of good to not have fear, I think there needs to be a little bit of tension to keep you moving.
Yeah, great.
You can't get too complacent and sit on.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Let it all flow,
Sure.
Keeps you working, keeps you pushing forward,
cool.
Searching.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for having a chat with me today.
Thank you.
And good luck in your upcoming show. And,
thank you.
I think we love seeing you around the community. We love seeing you and your kids and your partner Mitch, and you guys, set a great example of, being true to yourselves and living your own dream, whatever version that is. So, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Cool.